The fleeing Texas Democrats, the weapons of mass destruction carrying COVID aboard airliners flying into the Capitol, well, they are now suing the governor of Texas. They're very mad at him because they left Texas, so they're unhappy with the consequences of their actions, and because they voluntarily left the state, causing some problems for them, somebody's got to pay for that. Who? Governor Abbott and some other people from Texas. This is the lawsuit, very interesting lawsuit. We're going to go through here. Not very long. You can see 7 pages. So this is going to be a fun one. And you can see the different plaintiffs over here. So these are all the fleeing Texas weapons of mass destruction COVID Dems. We have here Senfronia Thompson, Trey Fisher, Gene Wu, Vicky Goodwin, and many others. Not going to read all the long list of disasters. Now, who are they suing? They are suing the governor of Texas, Gregory Wayne Abbott, and Dade Fallon, along with James White. And so you might be asking yourself, well, who are these other 2 people? Governor Greg Abbott, of course, is the governor of Texas. These are the COVID Dems. You can see this was the little jet airliner COVID missile flying into Washington, D.C., 0 masks on, just really enjoying their breakthrough infections. And so they're suing now, as you can see. And interesting first thing to note is that the legal name of Dade Fallon, who is the Speaker of the House over there in Texas, they sort of used his non-legal name, Dade Fallon, when his actual name is Matthew McDade Fallon. And so this is actually Matthew McDade Fallon over here. And so you look at stuff like this because it kind of stands out at you, kind of feels a little bit sloppy. So let's see what's going on here. The gentleman who drafted this complaint, Craig Anthony Washington, we can see over here, and we can also see that he sort of signed off on this here. Payer name here is Craig Washington. You'll notice that this lawsuit actually cost $402 to file there in federal court. And so he filed it, Thompson et al. Versus Abbott et al. Craig Washington signed over here. He's actually got an article on Wikipedia. He was the U.S. member House of Representatives from Texas's 18th district. And so he is filing the lawsuit on behalf of the Texas Dems. You can see Civil Rights Act violation signed off on here. Quick other thing to note on this. Now, a couple things happening that are a little bit questionable here. So first and foremost, you'll notice that he signed off on this from the Craig Anthony Washington law firm, right? Which is his law firm. Says that he's the attorney for the plaintiffs. But then he also says that he's of counsel down here, and he's working with this law firm here called DeGuerin and Dixon. And he's got an email address that says caw@deguerin.com. Okay, so if he's filing this from his personal law firm, then why is he using the firm down here, DeGuerin and Dixon, and then using his email address, deguerin.com? Maybe that's not a big deal. Maybe it's not even a thing because he's of counsel, right? He's of counsel. And so we have people who are of counsel here at our firm. They kind of come on to do work here and there. And so he may have been just sort of, mixing and matching some stuff, but it is a little bit questionable when the actual firm that is in Texas doesn't have him on their website either, right? And he's using their email address. So we got Dick DeGuerin, we got Lewis Dixon, we got Kathleen Bean and Mark White, Well, that's interesting. So there may be some of counsels over there that are not actually on the website. Also not that big of a deal, right? You might have of counsel come and go, but he's of counsel for a law firm that does criminal law, which are my people. Shout out DeGuerin.com. They do homicide, murder, sex offenses, vehicular homicide, conspiracy, drug prosecutions, and all of them. So why is this guy then, who does criminal law and of counsel for a criminal law case, filing a civil rights claim for the Texas COVID Dems? I don't know. Well, let's learn about him. So he was an American lawyer, Democratic Party politician, served in the Texas State Senate, U.S. House of Representatives. Son of some other people, career. Began electing members, elected Democrat to the 101st Congress. Since leaving Congress, he's practiced law in Houston and Bastrop, Texas. Okay. So now we know about the guy. Let's dig into the lawsuit, shall we? Here it is. We got another typo to start things off. Introduction. And if you've been around this channel, you'll notice that this just doesn't look like a federal lawsuit, like at all. Doesn't even look like any, it doesn't, I don't know what's going on here, but it's not a federal lawsuit. Okay, plaintiffs will show that the defendant Abbott, okay, so here, a typo there, Fallon and White, they embarked upon a course of conduct which is intended to violate state and federal constitutional rights. What are they complaining about? Denying rights under the First, Fifth, and 14th Amendment. So, number one, race. They're saying that the plaintiffs here are either black or white. Okay, certain plaintiffs are either black or white. And you just look at it. So this is their class photo that they took, I think, prior to leaving. So yes, I think there are certainly some black or are either black or white, like one or the other. Okay. Nobody in between. Well, you can look at the photo. I don't need to have commentary on that, but this is their classroom photo that they took. Remember when you took one of these like in fifth grade? Like my fifth grade teacher was Mr. P. And so Mr. P had me, I think I was sitting like right here where this lady was in my fifth grade photo, but the Democrats took their own fifth grade photo. Now, their lawyer says that because some people are either black or white, and because their creed, he says that certain plaintiffs have expressed faith or a belief that every eligible citizen has the right to vote, which nobody's arguing. Eligible citizen, I think, is the key phrase there. And color. Certain plaintiffs are distinguishable based upon the melanin in their skin. Oh, okay. And then subsection D, why these rights are being violated. Natural origin. They are descendants of persons born in other countries. Okay, so race, creed, color, and natural origin. So this lawyer. Okay, so we have some black or white people here, and they are distinguishable based on the melanin in their skin. So that's great. Once again, all the plaintiffs, all coming out of Texas, all the Democrats, we know who they are. Here we have paragraph 3. Why is this civil rights claim valid now? Plaintiffs victims of a discriminatory, or must be are victims. Plaintiffs are victims of a discriminatory scheme to violate their constitutional rights to assemble, to redress grievances, speak, vote, travel, persuade members of Congress to help support them in their quest to obtain and maintain all of their rights, all because of their protected status. So, okay. Number 4, this suit arises out of deliberate acts of status discrimination, as well as discriminatory policies, customs, practices perpetuated by Governor Abbott against them. And the putative class is like writing a class action lawsuit that have disparately impacted all persons of each individual plaintiff status. The claim in this suit also includes damages resulting from actions taken. Okay. Defendants collectively acted in concert with one another under the color of law. So the governor and the Texas House of Representatives, yeah, they acted together in concert and under color of law as the governor and the House of Representatives to cause harm and damages alleged in this suit. Violates their rights, First Amendment right to the petition for government. So I guess they're saying plaintiffs request a class certification on behalf of others similarly. They are actually talking about this as a class action. Some plaintiffs also individually complain about retaliatory acts, threats, attempts at coercion related to exercising their First Amendment rights. So, folks, it's really hard to tell you what he's saying here because he's not saying much of anything. He's sort of regurgitating a bunch of constitutional language, which I love. I mean, it's a brilliant document. I appreciate him using it. Regarding the redressing of grievances, the right to speak and vote and travel and all of that stuff. Then he goes on and says this is all being perpetrated by the defendants against the plaintiffs, but we don't really know why or how or what the problem is or what is he complaining about. What did they do that is infringing on their right to free speech or free association or any of the other complaints? I'm not really sure what they're talking about, but in there. All right, let's see if we can figure this out. Jurisdiction and venue will fly. Oh, by the way, this was the Miller Lite photo. So this was when they were all sort of very, very sadly fleeing their state. The Texas Dems with that Miller Lite. Forgot about that one. This is a U.S. Code, House of Representatives. We have the plaintiffs and the different Texas Dems. Oh, we have different categories here. So in the first one, we just had black or white. Now we are adding Asian, Hispanic, gay, and all subscribe to the belief that citizens should be allowed to register and vote in all elections. Again, nobody is contesting that. I don't know what the problem is there. All right, so let's see what they're complaining about. Here is COVID WMD Texas Dem with Kamala Harris. You remember that was before she got rushed over to Walter Reed for some bizarre reason. So the Texas Dems, they're saying that they embarked on they're saying that Governor Abbott They were trying to deny, coerce, threaten, and intimidate the COVID Dems to stop them, prevent them from voting in all elections, from peaceably assembling to address their grievances, to speak publicly about their constitutional rights, to associate, to be secure in their person. Folks, he's just going through and he's just, I guess, reciting what the First Amendment has to say. Plaintiffs allege that in doing the acts and things complained of, which, again, not real sure what those are specifically, like what? The defendants were conspirator engaged. The defendants were conspirator engaged in a scheme and conspiracy designed and intended to deny them of the Constitution. They allege as a direct consequence and a result of other acts, they've been deprived of liberty for a substantial period of time. They've suffered much anxiety and distress over the separation from their families and much discomfort and embarrassment of their reputations. Impaired, they've lost much time from their homes and the companionship and the care of their families. They've been required to spend substantial sums of money and of time traveling to and from the state of Texas to persuade Congress to pass laws to ameliorate the harms done and to redress their grievances. Folks, that sounds awful. You know, they look, first of all, look at this. That is just horrible. Look at all that grief in her hair. This lady's hair is turning blue. That's how upset she is. All right. So what do they want for all of this? $5 here in actual damages. And they want the classes they represent $10 in punitive damages. Oh, okay. So $5 in actual damages and then $10 in punitive damages. All right. So here's what they're going to be asking for. They want to advance this cause on the docket, grant a temporary restraining order, order a hearing on the request for the injunction, grant an injunction. I don't know what they want injuncted. I don't know what they want an injunction for. Enjoin the defendants from doing any act that violates their constitutional rights, grants plaintiffs reasonable attorney's fees, actual and punitive damages. Here, signed off on by this guy, Craig Anthony Washington. Folks, I don't even know what to say about this lawsuit. I mean, honestly, I think it's kind of a joke. I think he might be joking. Yeah, I'll file that for you. Yeah, give me 5 minutes. Let me just see what I can just smash on this piece of paper together. We're going to call it a civil rights case, a class action. We want multiple injunctions for Lord knows what. The defendants did all sorts of heinous things that are not delineated in the lawsuit. It's a 7-page lawsuit that's asking for $5 in actual damages and then $10 in punitive damages. I don't even know if this guy, did he get their permission to file this? Did anybody look at this document before it went out the door? If an of counsel from our firm filed this, they would no longer be of counsel at our firm. So I wonder what the DeGuerin law firm has to say about this guy using their email address. Uh-oh, not too good. All right, let's take some questions over from watchingthewatchers.locals.com and see what came in on this one. We've got Want to Know says, I think the Democrats went to their own public school system because they can't spell correctly. Probably graduated with honors. Good to see you Want to Know. Leafy Bug is here, says, maybe they were cut from the Obama birthday party list because of the bad press they attracted. They're very, very angry about that. And someone has to pay. Yeah. Did they get invited to Barry O's party? I didn't see him there. Probably pretty upset about that. All right, it's good to see you. Leafy Bug. All right, we got some other ones here. We've got Barack Obama's in the house. Says, booyah, celebrating. That's for the next segment. We're going to have to queue up. We're going to have to go back and queue up some of those. Barack Obama's, he's antsy. He says, Rob, didn't you know the amount of melanin in your skin directly determines your ability to acquire photo ID. Forgot about that. Yeah. Yes, this statement is anti-racist. If you think people with high melanin content have equal capabilities as less melanated individuals, you are racist. Melanated. That's a great point. Yeah, a lot of melanation happening in these parts. You know, I don't know. Okay. All right, I got to get it together here, folks. We have a whole nother segment to get to before we get to Barack Obama. All right, we've got Todd Trout says, did he write that lawsuit with a crayon? We're about to get into giddy mode over here. Thank you for that, Todd. We got Southern Democrats created the KKK is in the house. Says, are the Texas Democrats suing under 42 U.S. Code 1983? Yeah, they are actually. No, I don't know about that. Otherwise known as the Ku Klux Klan Act. What a bloody joke. The civil rights laws for when people like the KKK intimidate black people and attack them, not the governor enforcing the law about representatives needed to be present. Yeah, he filed under 1983. That's a civil rights statute. I don't know what civil rights were violated, but you're right? It's a joke. And that attorney, I'm not real sure what's going on here. We have Legal Eagle is here. A huge lawyer YouTuber. Very bright man. Says, pro tip to the person who wrote the complaint, remove the oven mitts before starting to type. Otherwise, great job, and I'm sure you will win this case. That's from Legal Eagle. I really doubt Legal Eagle is on this post, but go check out his channel if you're into that. We've got another one. Sergeant Bob says, I taught high school 6 years, grade A for creative writing. There you go. Articulating legal foundation and justification for legal action. Grade E, failure, remedy, remedial education via demotion to non-legislative role. That's great. Thank you for that, Sergeant. Yeah, you, sir, that's a bad lawsuit and you should feel bad. And you're now in timeout. You do not get to practice law anymore for filing that and paying $406 to get that filed in a federal court. Sit there and think about what you did, because that is not appropriate. We have Vienticus Prime says, just remember, politicians are elected because they are popular with someone. Yes. And we have over here, Thunder7 says, can Governor Abbott countersue for causing distress to the American people when they sang at the Capitol? So he could probably countersue them, certainly, but probably not for that. That would have to be brought under probably a federal action for cruel and unusual punishment to the American people. We need a constitutional amendment for that one. We have Jeremy Matrita says, Rob, the Democrats that fled their congressional duties to avoid the job they were hired to do, that plaintiff fled their duties freely without being stopped or prevented from leaving. The Democrats are only making themselves look like morons. Yes, the defendants also have the First Amendment right to make statements of frustration. The people who voted these politicians into office should be suing their representatives for abandoning their duties. Yeah, I think they're going to pay pretty significantly at the ballot box the next go round. Good to see you, Jeremy. No Doubt is here, says, maybe CRT is right. Race is the root of all. Well, I'm not going to read that. I don't know what that means. We have here says, screw the Texas Democrats. Says, since when do those Democrats care about the First and the 14th Amendment, since they advocate censorship on their political opponents as well as advocate for open racism via CRT? Remember the time when Gary O'Connor called Tim Scott? Did he call him that? Yeah. It required Allen West to send cookies, Oreo cookies, to the Democrats, and significant public backlash. Oh, man. That stuff is just, yeah, that's offensive. You know, the race stuff. All right, let's go over to, let's go check out the super chats here on YouTube before we get into our final segment of the day. We have here, this one is coming in from Mr. Ted Offensive, says, Dick DeGuerin is a famous attorney here in Texas. He represented David Koresh during the wow, really? Wow, that's amazing. The 51-day standoff with the Branch Davidians in Waco. 84 people were killed, 24 children. Again, a big reason I generally don't trust the police. Dick DeGuerin represented them. Wow. Such a fascinating story, Waco. That's one of those stories that I remember watching sort of as a young boy, and then it's stuck with me ever since. And I honestly think, Mr. Ted Offensive, that incident also helped to shape my political opinions watching that, because I saw what happened, and it didn't seem right to me even as a boy. We have, let's see, Newbie of Death Reviews stuff says, Miller Lite is better than Coors Light, to be honest. You know, it's been a long time since I've had either one of those. And back during my drinking days, didn't really even care. Just throw it in there. That's all that mattered to me. So I'll take your word for it. We have Curtis Bartle says, thank you, Rob. And all we can see how they are trying to take America down. Keep up the great reporting. Thank you for that, Curtis Bartle. We have Ben Dover here says, we need Howard the Duck to return. I don't know who that is, but sounds probably better than whatever we've got. David Elkins says, can they be fined or otherwise be punished for filing a frivolous and incoherent lawsuit? So yes, actually, right? So the judge could come back and say, this complaint is so bad, you know, I'm just going to it wouldn't be necessarily punished in the form of like, we're going to disbar you and not let you be a lawyer anymore. Wouldn't be anything like that. But the judge might just say, this is not even a facially sufficient complaint. In other words, it's not even good enough to get on my desk to look at, because it's missing all of the things that we need in a lawsuit in order for it to be sufficient. So that would be a punishment, right? And keep the 402. This has been ineffective. It's been dismissed. You're not a good lawyer for filing that. Don't do it again. And that would probably be the extent of it. The bigger consequence might be from DeGuerin saying, why are you using our emails in your garbage motion? We don't want to be associated with that. What are you, nuts? So he might get in trouble with them, or maybe he won't. Who knows? Maybe they endorsed it. I don't know. Good to see you, David. Thank you for that. We have Angela B. says, me and my coworkers are spontaneously going to Honolulu to protest mistreatment of Hawaiian turtles. Hope my employer doesn't violate our civil rights. Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. If they do, you can sue him for whatever he sued him for. I don't think you'll have much success there. But have a safe trip to Honolulu, saving those turtles there, Angela B. I know you're kidding. Newbie of Death says, watch Waco, The Big Lie. Yeah, I've watched a lot of Waco stuff. I'm not sure if I've seen that one, but it is. There's a lot of interesting things that went on there. We have Sergeant Bob says, another big fed up mess was Ruby Ridge in Idaho, like Waco. For sure, do not trust the feds. Yeah, Ruby Ridge in Idaho. Yeah, that's another one. That was more recent, right? Oh, man. All right. So those were great questions. A lot of great comments. Thank you for all of your love and support over at Locals and on YouTube. I appreciate that. Let's give some shout outs to over in the chat room. Over on Locals, we've got Tweaks in the house with Want to Know. We got Gertjan Decker's in the house with I'm Not Gassed. Another Want to Know over there. They are chatting away with Vienticus Prime Thunder 7 and many others. Over on YouTube, shout outs to Manners, Martian Tech. We have Kenneth Reeder in the house. Lava Java Lava. Where's Lava Java Lava been? Good to see you, Lava. We have Sarah Brown. We've got Christine. We have JS and many others over there. Thank you to you all for your continued support. Really appreciate you being here. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Before you head out, I want to just remind you that I am a criminal defense lawyer here in Scottsdale, Arizona, where my team and I, we've got a long history of helping good people facing criminal charges to find safety, clarity, and hope in their cases and beyond that in their lives. Our phone number for a free case evaluation is 480-787-0394. You can also find us online at www.rrlawaz.com. We can help with any type of criminal charge in the state of Arizona. Things like DUI, drug offenses, misdemeanor offenses. And we can also help with clearing up old case records, like expunging cases or making sure that you can restore your rights so that you can vote again or possess a firearm again or apply for some other federal benefits. We can remove mugshots off the internet. Basically, anytime that you or somebody you know or love is in trouble with the law in the state of Arizona, we have an amazing team of people. We would just love the opportunity to help. And our phone number, of course, 480-787-0394. And if you don't need any legal services, that's a very good thing. But you may be interested in some informational offerings so that you are prepared if you do have to deal with the police. And of course, I want to invite you to head on over to gumroad.com/Robert Gruler. You'll notice here, I've got several different trainings that are available, including the law enforcement interaction training. This is the 1, 2, 3 rule for dealing with the police. It's one rule you need, 2 questions that the police can ask of you, and 3 responses if they ask you a problematic question. So that's available now. You can also get a load at my personal productivity system here called Existence Systems. Fun little course. And then we have here, if you're a lawyer or a legal professional, be sure to check out this program. We are meeting twice every month. Again, all of this over at gumroad.com/Robert Gruler. And if none of that sounds any good to you, well, just go ahead and give us a follow, because I'm working on some other products and some other offerings. And of course, if you have not already done so, want to invite you one more time to head on over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com. It's where you can support the show, and it's where we can connect. We've got monthly Zoom meetings and a lot of other goodies coming up. So I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for watching and for all of your love and support. I will see you on the next one.